Hello and welcome. So today I have for you 10 fragrances. I don't know about where you live, but our weather has been just absolutely crazy. So we are still in August. We haven't even hit September, and tomorrow we're supposed to have like 50-degree weather. I mean, I'm here for it because you guys know I've been so hot. This summer has been just crazy hot also. But isn't it a little bit early to be going into like chill weather, like chilly weather? I don't know, because 50 to me is chilly. I mean, I'm not going to wear a coat, but it's like sweater weather, like, yeah. So today I have for you 10 fragrances, and I think that they are perfect to transition us from the summer into those more pleasant temperature days of the beginning of the fall. Some of these fragrances were sent to me in PR, so as I go along, I will let you know which ones they are. And some of them have been in my collection for a little bit longer than others. But what I can tell you is that these are all perfect to transition you from the smoldering hot weather days all the way into the much more pleasant and cooler days. But let's go ahead and jump right in. But before we do so, as always, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. All right, so we are going to go ahead and start today with our first fragrance. And of course, you know what I'm doing. I'm wiping my little fingerprints off of it. And this is a fragrance that is pretty new to my collection, and it was sent to me, and it is from Oman Luxury. And this one is Wanderlust. Now, Wanderlust is a fragrance that I think is absolutely perfect to transition you from these very, very hot summer days into cooler weather, but not completely like cold weather, but cooler, just a very pleasant kind of temperature, because this is a fragrance that still has some qualities that you would appreciate during hot weather. So on those days, of the fall where it's not completely cool and it's still a bit warm, this is a fragrance that is perfect. The other thing that I love about it is that it is a fragrance that you can use for just about any occasion, day or night. You could make it your signature scent, but I absolutely love the entire feel of the fragrance, because while it does give you kind of a cozy feel, it's not so cozy that you feel that you should be wearing it in very, very cold weather. And it is a fragrance that you could definitely use during a hot summer day. Now, this is a fragrance that opens up very citrusy, which is why I told you at the beginning that this is a fragrance that will transition you, will cover some of your summer temperature, but will also transition you nicely into the fall. So it opens up citrusy, and it has a bit of freshness to it, but it is also fresh, spicy. And the one spice that you're going to pick up here is definitely the pink pepper. As the journey continues, you are going to get some fruitiness to the fragrance. Those citrusy notes become like a bit fruity, and you're going to start to pick up like blackcurrant, and there's a creaminess that comes to the fragrance at that point, and there's a woodiness to go along with it, giving the fragrance quite a bit of character. Because to be honest with you, until that point, I thought, well, is this really like a freshie more than anything? But it's not. It's really not. And at the dry down, you are going to get an exquisitely beautiful scent that, while being airy, it is fresh, spicy. And at the dry down, they all blend together very, very nicely with a good bit of woodiness and still that fresh quality of the fragrance. As I said before, you can use it for just about any occasion. And to me, this is completely unisex. Does this lean a tad to the masculine side? No, not really. No, not really, because I know that many of you think that if it's Oman Luxury, like it's going to be a fragrance that's going to lean a bit to the masculine side, but that's not the case with Wanderlust. Wanderlust is definitely, in my opinion, a true unisex fragrance. Let us know if you've tried Wanderlust or any of the Oman luxury fragrances. Now, the next fragrance that I'm going to share with you is a fragrance that was sent to me in PR. And I had shared this fragrance. I had shared like a first impression of this fragrance with you during a Saturday morning chatty scent corner. And I had shared with you that as soon as I received this fragrance, it's like it became like an immediate love for me because it is very, very different. And let's just talk about it. So this one is Love is Coming Chapter 2. And this is from a different company, if I recall correctly. Now, I had never tried any fragrances from this fragrance house, but I have to tell you, if they are as different and as special as this one, I'm going to have to try others because this is really, really unique. So let me just start by saying that this is a fragrance that has such a combination of notes. So here you have some tomato, some green pepper, you have some blackcurrant. I mean, it is a very peculiar fragrance because while it has those like vegetable notes, which by the way, in my opinion, is what makes it so perfect to transition you into the fall. It is a fragrance though that does have some florals. If I recall correctly, it has geranium and it does have some lavender, and it also has some degree of woodiness. But from the first sniff, the fragrance is green to my nose and on paper. It's not ultra green, but it's a very herbal and very aromatic and a touch of green kind of fragrance. But at all that, even if you're not into those type of fragrances, because that's what was holding me off a little bit. Like when I looked at the notes, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But I am telling you, at first sniff, I fell automatically in love with it. And this is a fragrance that not only will transition you perfectly into the fall, but it is suited for just about any occasion. Where I wear this to a gala, no, I would not wear this to a formal event or even to date night. But other than that, you can wear it for just about anything. Definitely, you can take it to the office. You can take it for just about anything. I just personally would not use it for a very special occasion. This is a fragrance that, while being very herbal and very aromatic, it is not a light or faint or anything like that. It doesn't give you like a weird type of scent in any part of the olfactory journey. It is truly a beautiful fragrance that I think you're really, really going to enjoy, especially as you go into those cooler days. To me, this is completely unisex, but may lean a tad to the feminine side because there is just something beautiful about this fragrance that I can't even explain. It has no oud, but it definitely has musk. And it is a musk to the tune of like a level 3, with 5 being the most and 1 being the least, but it's not animalic in any kind of way, but you are going to pick up on the musk, even though the musk is never really so present or so overpowering that it overshadows all the other accords or notes. At no point, even though it is a level 3. The blend here is just absolutely exquisite. This is truly an incredible fragrance that I'm telling you, even if you're not into this type of scent profile, I highly recommend that you at least try it because I have the feeling you're going to be very, very surprised. Please let us know if you've tried Love is Coming Chapter 2 and your thoughts. So the next fragrance that I have for you was also sent to me, and this is actually my first fragrance from this brand, so I'm really, really excited about it. And this is Syn.Cherry. Now, this is a fragrance that, as the name says it, it does have a very present cherry note. But the beauty of this fragrance is that it has such a beautiful combination of notes and accords because it has fruity notes, it has woody notes, it has notes that give the fragrance a touch of like a gourmandish vibe. But to me, this is not a full-on gourmand fragrance whatsoever. But here you are going to find fruity notes. And within the fruity notes, the one that sticks out from the beginning is that cherry. And the cherry is not a very dark cherry, but I will tell you, it is a sweet, true, like very, very realistic cherry note. It's sweet, it is like juicy, and you can immediately pick up on the cherry. Now, as soon as the fragrance opens, you are going to get that cherry, but you're also going to pick up on the note of raspberry within that fruitiness. But again, the lead within the fruity notes is definitely the cherry. Now, would I say that this is a cherry fragrance? Well, the cherry plays a very important role within the fragrance, but there are other fruity notes that will definitely have their turn within the olfactory journey at shining. You have the cherry, you have mango, you have pear, you have raspberry, and all of those fruits at one point or the other, some a little bit faint, others more present. You are definitely going to pick up on them. But the one that will stand out the most is definitely that note of cherry. After that very fruity opening, because the opening to my nose and on paper is all about those fruity notes, you are going to start to pick up on like a floral quality to the fragrance. But the floral here is the violet, if I recall correctly. And the violet that I pick up is not very present. This fragrance to me, to my nose and on paper, is really not about florals per se. This is more about those fruity notes playing very, very nicely. Even though they have a dominant role, those fruity notes play very nicely with those gourmand touch notes and with those woody notes. So you are going to have the mango, you are going to have the cherry, you are going to have the pear, but you are also going to have that violet, which is going to make the fragrance a bit powdery at the dry down, in addition to a woody background. So at the dry down, you're going to get a sweet, powdery, fruity scent that to my nose and on paper is marked more specifically by that cherry note, which is fresh and still juicy at the dry down, and throughout the wear of the fragrance, you're still going to pick it up. And it does have a good bit of vanilla. Is it like a very present vanilla note? No, it is not. But the vanilla is present enough for you to be able to enjoy it within that fruitiness. Now, within the sweetness of this fragrance, they did disclose the note of caramel, but I don't pick up caramel in this fragrance because I really believe that all of the sweetness that I get from it is coming from those fruity notes. But at all that, this fragrance is just very, very nice. Is it a deep love for me? It's really not a deep love, but it is definitely a fragrance that I do enjoy and I do like it very much. It's just not a love yet. Maybe I need to wear it more or wear it more in a fall day. If you are looking for a very cherry centric fragrance, then this may be your friend. If you have other cherry fragrances in your collection, I can tell you that I do have a couple of other fragrances that I could pull and say that, they kind of give me the same vibe. They're not the same, but kind of give me the same type of cherry. But here it has been done very nicely and in a very natural way. This is a fragrance that I think leans heavy to the feminine side, and I think that you can wear it just about any season, including summer, but I just think it's perfect to transition you into the fall for sure. And you can wear it for any occasion, day or night. It does have musk, but the musk here to my nose is like a level 2. It's very, very faint. It's not about the musk at all. So the next fragrance that I have for you is a fragrance that is from a fragrance house that I don't have any other fragrances from it. And this is from Jousset Parfums. And I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And this one is Oh My Gourmand. Now this fragrance was sent to me and, just from reading the notes, I thought to myself, oh, this is going to be yet another gourmand. But let me tell you why this fragrance is in today's lineup. It's in today's lineup because this is truly a gourmand, but this is the type of gourmand that you could easily pull off during a hot summer day, in my opinion, and definitely will transition beautifully into the fall season. This is a fragrance that opens up very citrusy, not necessarily fruity to my nose, but very citrusy. And that opening already sets the tone for an airiness and a freshness. Well, this is not a freshie. This is truly a gourmand, but it is an airy gourmand. It's a gourmand that has some flexibility to it because while you are going to smell kind of like food, I can't really say that you're going to smell like a pie or like this or like something else. No, this is a fragrance to me that is perfect if you are into a gourmand, but you're looking for the gourmand to not be very dense. If you want it to be airy, that is what you're going to get from this fragrance. To me, this is a fragrance that could be pulled by any age. So if you're concerned about, well, is this more of a playful, more of a light kind of gourmand, no, this to me is actually like a flirty kind of gourmand. Now here you are going to find some interesting notes that give quite a bit of depth and character to this fragrance and that sets it apart from other gourmands that you may have in your collection. So there's the note of rice, there's the note of cookie, and you are definitely going to get that cookie note. There is a ton of vanilla in this fragrance, and there is like a custard, like it's like a whipped cream custard type of like quality to the fragrance. I can't explain it, but it does make the fragrance a tiny bit lactonic, not very much, but it does make the fragrance rather yummy because that creaminess is so present and so yummy. It is just perfection. But I tell you, this one will transition you beautifully into the fall. And it is definitely a fragrance that I say you can wear for just about any occasion, day or night. And for me, this definitely leans to the feminine side. Not heavy, but it definitely does lean to the feminine side. But can I see a gentleman wearing this fragrance? Absolutely. Now, in preparing this lineup, I wanted to make sure that I included fragrances that covered all spectrums, right, of different scent profiles, different notes, just different scent profiles altogether so that you could have a good pick. But this next one, I struggle with what scent profile to put it in because it is such a different but exquisitely beautiful fragrance, and it is absolute perfection to transition you into the fall season. And this is the latest from Day 3 Fragrances, and this is Desert Rain. I have to tell you guys, I have been featuring Day 3 fragrances left and right on the channel. And if you have been with me for a while, I'm sure you've noticed, wow, Arahi's really into Day 3. I really am. Every single fragrance that I have tried is a fragrance that speaks to me of being different, of being like a different type of creation. It's not like your standard scent profile or one that you may find in your collection in another fragrance. No, that is not the case with Day 3 fragrances. At least that has not been my experience. And Desert Rain is no exception because this is totally different. I can tell you that I only have one fragrance in my collection that this one would be in that same category, and it's one from Memo Paris, and it is a 2025 release, and it's, if I recall correctly, it's Portobello Road. I think that's the name, but it is a fragrance that I absolutely love, and it has a note of asphalt. Well, here, this is Desert Rain, and while you don't have necessarily that same asphalt note, there is something in here that I can't explain, and that makes it so addictive. This is the type of fragrance that when you spray it, you're just going to be sniffing your arm or hand all day long. That is a given. Now, this is a fragrance that if you look at the bottle, you're probably like, well, Arahi, is that a masculine fragrance? No. To me, this is truly unisex. And by the way, it is a fragrance that I think you could pull for any season of the year, for any occasion, day or night. You could make it your signature scent. It is just a very different and very special fragrance. This fragrance opens up with a very dominant tea note that on my skin and on paper is relentless. That tea note is not leaving. It's not going anywhere. This is definitely a tea-based fragrance. At that, there is a bit of like an herbal quality here, and I don't know where it's coming from, but I do get it. And it is also like spicy, but it is a bit warm spicy. And at that, there's also a note of leather, and that leather note just gives additional character to the fragrance. But there is like a note called like a Desert Rain Accord or something like that, or a Rain Accord. And I don't know what rain smells like if you're in the desert, but I can tell you that this does. This, to me, this scent is reminiscent of one of those days where, you're just sitting at home and you have the windows open and all of a sudden it starts to rain. And you can clearly pick up on the scent of rain. I do get that in this fragrance, but it is beautiful because combined with that tea note and all the other notes involved makes for an exquisitely beautiful and like whimsical kind of fragrance. I can't even explain it any better, but I tell you, if you are into a fragrance that is completely different, that is going to make you feel special, but it's still going to have that smoothness and that beauty while still having character because of those woody notes and that desert rain kind of accord. I don't know how to explain it, but this is just absolutely exquisite. I highly recommend it as a perfect fragrance to transition you from the summer into the fall. To me, this is a unisex fragrance, and I think that it is suited for just about any age. Is this like a fun, playful fragrance? No, it's not. It's really like a very truly, I don't want to say serious, but it is a serious fragrance. But it's just that it has all of those notes and accords that make it such an adventure and such like a fun moment to wear, right? It is just really, really interesting. Let us know if you've tried Desert Rain and your thoughts. So the next fragrance that I have for you is from a fragrance house that is very new, but it's not new to my collection because I have just about every single fragrance from this fragrance house at this point, and I am absolutely in love. The one that I'm going to share with you today is actually my favorite. It's not going to be new to you because I have featured this fragrance on the channel so many times because it is a true love. And this is from the House of Dastan, and this is You. But You with a question mark. This is a fragrance that, oh, it is so, so perfect to bring you into the fall season. It is very, very fruity. It has such a beautiful fruity opening that is immediately going to capture your attention. It is a sweet fragrance, but not very, very sweet. If you're familiar with House of Dastan Game of Joy, it is less sweet than Game of Joy, but it is still a sweet fragrance, even though it opens up with quite a bit of fruitiness. As the journey continues, you are going to pick up on those woody notes, and the fragrance then becomes like a little bit lactonic. But at all that, the fragrance is not what I would call necessarily a full-on lactonic fragrance because there is a degree of airiness brought on by some citrusy notes, and that airiness opens with the fragrance. Even though the fruity notes and the sweetness are very present at the opening, you're still going to get those citrusy notes with a bit of airiness, and you are going to get a tad of a lactonic quality on a woody background. But at the dry down, you are going to get a beautiful, like floral, fruity, woody scent that is just perfection for the fall season, and that will take you to any type of occasion, right? Whether it's day, night, formal, informal, just beautifully perfect. This fragrance is really, really, really special. And the thing about it is that although I'm telling you that it will transition you beautiful for summer, you know, from summer into the fall, this is one that you can pull for any season of the year. This is that kind of fragrance. Let us know if you've tried You and your thoughts. Now, the next fragrance that I have for you is an Initio fragrance, and this is just absolutely perfect. When I tell you, this may be one of the most perfect fragrances here to transition you from summer into fall. This is what I would call like an investment kind of fragrance because it is just absolutely perfect, and you could probably pull it off for other seasons of the year, but I just think that to transition you into the fall, it couldn't get any better. And I'm speaking about Initio, and this one is Rehab. This is just, you know, there are several fragrances within the entire Initio fragrance house that are just icons. And to me, this is definitely one of them, right along with Musk Therapy and a couple of others. But Rehab is just absolutely perfection. So this is a fragrance that opens up a little bit citrusy, but to me, the opening is more floral than anything else. Interestingly enough, and I've always found this rather curious, to me, the fragrance opens with a tad of powderiness, and I get that powderiness all throughout the olfactory journey and at the dry down. And I can't explain where that powderiness comes from, just from the notes that they have disclosed. But I assure you that I do get some powderiness, but it's a tiny bit of powderiness. It's not even like just powderiness. No, it's just a little bit of powderiness. But I think that you stand the chance of definitely picking up on it. Here, you're also going to find some woody notes with a very, very beautifully done creamy sandalwood that is just going to hook you on at the dry down and never let you go. I mean, this is the type of fragrance, guys, that if you just sniff it, you're most likely going to end up picking it up. This is such an addictive scent. I don't know what they put in here. And this is part, if I recall correctly, part of the Hedonist collection. And they have other fragrances that are unbelievable. Like this year, they launched also a Power Self, which was part of this collection, and I love that fragrance. That is totally different, in a totally different realm. But Rehab, oh wow, this is perfection to transition you into the fall. This is a fragrance that you could use for any occasion, day or night. To me, this is like, there is no specific occasion or age or time of the day. This is a fragrance that could be your signature scent. But just get ready, because it is a fragrance that does make quite the statement. And it is a fragrance that, at least to me, has a little bit of sexiness to it. Very, very interesting. For me, this is completely unisex, doesn't lean in any direction, but it is an absolute beautiful masterpiece. So the next fragrance that I have for you is from Profumi di Polignano, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, and it's Cerere. Now, this is a fragrance that, while for me it is not a full-on gourmand because it's not going to make you smell like food, this fragrance is loaded, absolutely loaded with gourmand notes. So here, I have to tell you from the get-go, the most interesting note that you're going to find here is the note of cereal. And the cereal that I get here, it's like not frosted flakes necessarily, but like the regular, flakes without the sugar coating, right? That is what I get. And maybe even Rice Krispies, just like the regular Rice Krispies. Oh, but this is just a glorious scent that to me speaks automatically to the fall season. This is a fragrance that also has the note of peanut. It has some spicy notes, some fruity notes. It has quite a bit of a citrusy presence to it, always in the backdrop of anything that may be going on. And clearly you are going to pick up on notes like bergamot and tangerine, if I recall correctly. The tangerine is very, very faint, but the bergamot is not, especially at the opening. But this is the kind of fragrance that when you wear it, there is just something so yummy about it, but you're not going to smell like food because the scent itself is quite sophisticated. It doesn't speak to food. It speaks to a beautifully elegant and sophisticated kind of scent. Here you also have some patchouli, if I recall correctly, but the patchouli is not very present. If I recall correctly, it's more like at the dry down, but the dry down doesn't have an overpowering note at all, because at the dry down, what I did find is that all those notes and accords that I picked up throughout the olfactory journey just all land and blend together so beautifully that you can barely distinguish anything. But at all that, you're always going to know that there are some woody notes, some floral notes, there's some heliotrope, there's some citrusy notes, and then you have those gourmand notes like cereal and peanut. This is the only fragrance I think I have in my collection that has the note of peanut. I really can't recall having another fragrance that has that. But all in all, even though you have all of those notes and accords interacting, at the dry down, you are going to get an exquisitely elegant and sophisticated and very elevated kind of scent that will carry you beautifully into the fall season. But while carrying you into the fall, it is one that you could wear all throughout the fall and throughout the winter, because while it will transition you nicely, it will also carry you all throughout those cold weather months. To me, this is very much a unisex fragrance. And the other thing that I do want to let you know is that at times I thought that I was picking up like a boozy accord here, but no, it's not boozy. It's like a tonka, caramelly, vanillic kind of combination that I'm picking up. But for a minute, I thought, wait a minute, is there a bit of booziness here? But no, I don't think that the fragrance is boozy at all, actually. I think it's more a function of what I'm picking up in the combination of those notes, because again, the blend is just exquisite. This fragrance has no oud and no musk, and would I wear it to the office? I think that you can wear it for whatever you want, but personally, I would not wear it to the office because there is just a richness to this fragrance that speaks to other type of occasions. This is also not a fragrance that I would take necessarily to the gym, but that's just personally. You can use it for just about anything in all reality, but that would just be my preference. Let us know if you've tried Cerere and your thoughts. So the next fragrance that I have for you is from a fragrance house that I have been absolutely obsessed with because of one fragrance. But now I was sent A, and this is Pantheon Roma. Now I have talked to you about several times already about O, with that note of like rosé champagne in it that just drives me insane. It's just beautiful. But this one is so special. This is a fragrance that is sweet, and this scent is just so gloriously beautiful. This fragrance has a ton of vanilla. It opens up with the vanilla. It is very sweet, not sickly sweet, but it is definitely sweet. You're immediately going to start to pick up on some fruity notes, and there's like a tropical quality to the fragrance, but not tropical like in a summer kind of way. It's just like a tropical vibe to it. This fragrance has orchid, it has jasmine, it has iris, and at the dry down, you are going to have a powdery scent that is very floral with a touch of fruity notes and beautiful, just beautiful like vanilla. And there's like a caramel and vanilla combination at the dry down that is very clear. And I know that that's the tonka combined with like the creaminess of the patchouli. But the patchouli is really not dominant in this fragrance, but it is present, and you're going to pick up on it as you approach the dry down. Like midway in the olfactory journey, you'll start to get little sniffs here and there of the patchouli, and at the dry down, you are going to have it, but it's not overpowering in any kind of way because there is nothing out of line or overpowering in this fragrance. I tell you, the DNA of this fragrance house to me, now that I've tried several of their fragrances, is all about that impeccably exquisite blend, a blend that has like no flaw, a blend that doesn't allow any note to be more dominant than the other or take the lead above the other. No, it is just absolutely beautiful. But this is a fragrance that does have musk, and the musk here is quite present. To me, this is like a level 4 to 5, so it is a seriously musk-based fragrance, but it is not one of those musks that is animalic or is going to give you like a funky kind of scent at any point. Because I'm telling you, this is absolutely beautiful. If you've tried this fragrance, please let us know, are you addicted to this scent? Because I don't know what is it about their DNA, because I feel the same way about O. As soon as I spray that fragrance, I have to keep sniffing and sniffing and sniffing myself. This to me is definitely a unisex fragrance leaning to the feminine side. Some may say that it is truly a feminine fragrance. To me, it's unisex leaning to the feminine side. You can use it for just about any occasion. You could make it your signature scent. It is truly a beautiful blend that is going to give you a full day wear with no problems, with a very strong projection during the first over 2 hours. This borders on powerhouse on my skin. Truly beautiful performance, and it is definitely going to get you compliments because once it lands on your skin, the projection is just glorious, and others will definitely sniff you without a problem. The next fragrance that I have for you, and the last one, this fragrance is so special. This one is from Thameen, and this one is Florentine Diamond. Now, this is a 2025 release, and I have to tell you, this is absolutely exquisite. I can't quite explain what is it about this fragrance, but it has such a beautiful mix of a very rich cacao note with some like, not citrusy necessarily, but like some zesty kind of notes. And it just gives me, for me, it almost like borders on Gourmand, but it's really not a Gourmand fragrance. Here, you're also going to find tuberose. You're going to have some woody notes and a very, very present vanilla. There are other notes, but I can't clearly pick them up. Maybe as I continue to use the fragrance, I've only used it like a couple of times, but I can tell you that this is just exquisite. This is full on beast mode. This is the type of fragrance that will give you with minimal, with not even trying, you're going to get 8+ hours. And for me, it approaches the 10-hour mark easily without having to overspray or reapply or anything like that. This is a fragrance that is such a high compliment getter because the scent is just absolutely beautiful. I don't know how they did it or what they've done, but it's that mix of the cacao with those like zesty notes and then that tuberose. The tuberose is not dominant in any kind of way. Actually, none of the notes are really dominant, but they are present. And through parts of the olfactory journey, you are going to pick up very much on the tuberose, very much on the cacao. The vanilla is just like a powerhouse here because there's quite a bit of vanilla. And at the dry down, you are going to get those woody notes. And the interesting part is that within that woodiness, you're going to get like a touch of oud. I do get a touch of oud, but the oud is very, very light. I mean, from 1 to 5, I would say that the oud here is like a level 1 because I barely pick it up, but it is present. It is I don't want to say that it's present, but it is faint and there. It's almost like if you're used to sniffing that soft and smooth oud, you're going to pick up on it in this fragrance because it is definitely there, but it is not dominant in any kind of way. So if you're not into oud fragrances, I wouldn't be very concerned. I do recommend that you all really do get your nose on this one, because I don't know how we are not all talking about this fragrance. This is absolutely beautiful and truly perfection for the transition into the fall season. But this one will also carry you throughout the entire fall season and throughout the winter. For me, this is definitely a unisex fragrance, and this is not one that I would wear to the office, but just about for, any other occasion. I would not wear it to the office, and I would not wear it like to go work out or anything like that, because again, it is a very intense fragrance. It is truly beast mode level. So I think it may be a bit much, and I don't want you to choke or to choke those around you. So for me, this is not an office scent, and it is definitely not one that I would wear to go work out. But other than that, this is perfection for date night, for a formal, for a casual, just not the office. That's just my opinion. But other than that, I think that this is best suited for the ages of 25 plus, because this is a serious powerhouse, I am telling you. So the ages of 25 plus and unisex. Let us know if you've tried Florentine Diamond and your thoughts. All right, so we've reached the end of today's video, and I hope that this was enjoyable for you. I tell you, the 10 fragrances that I shared with you today are really, really special. They are fragrances that I believe you are going to absolutely love. Just make sure that you try those that, have notes that you really enjoy, and accords that you think that you would really enjoy during a cooler weather season. That is key when we're transitioning from the summer into the fall. And that was something that I really kept in mind as I selected these fragrances. But other than that, I think you're going to be very, very happy with most of them. I can't even recommend one over the other, because they're all such different scent profiles, and they all make a different kind of statement. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.